Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals. We recognize that our future depends on the achievement of all inclusive, consistent, and participatory implementation to ensure that we can transform all our pillars under the Vision 2030 and adhering to the universal principle of leaving no one behind. So, ladies and gentlemen, my pledge and my plea to you today is, as we later on move out of this room, may we showcase that it's possible as Kenyans to leave no one behind. It's possible for Kenyans to speak for the masses and to implement and articulate that which needs to be done. For us as the SDGs Kenya Forum, we are committed to ensure that moving forward, we continuously engage different stakeholders and also partnerships that can foster development agendas for this nation. It's possible for us to move Kenya from where we are at this level to a level that can speak for whoever, the kind of aspirations we have for this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Florence. I will certainly leave with the smile in mind. I tell you, it's one thing to see a high table smile. And you gentlemen outdid yourselves, so thank you very much indeed. Allow me to recognize political parties present here. If you're here and you're a member or a representative of a political party, would you just wave at me? Come on, wave it proud. Thank you. This forum is for you. You're our critical stakeholders. Thank you so much for being here. And now, as members of political parties, I'm sure all of you are saying to yourselves, but we've already started launching our own manifestos. Is that true? Are we silently thinking that? And that's true, and that's fantastic. So what we're about to present to you now is what we're calling the Model Manifesto 1, in which political parties have in fact been critical stakeholders. They went through a process with the coordinators of this event to even verify and validate this final product that is being launched. And if you're a citizen in the room and wondering, so how will this help me? Going forward, one of these parties will emerge as the winner of the political contest. And you can use the document you're about to see to benchmark against the pledges that they will have made to you and to show you on which areas should you be seeking to hold your government to account. What should be the priority areas? And I believe now we are ready to show you the Model Manifesto from our governance expert, Dennis Kabara. Dennis?
Now, it seems I'm going to run through a presentation. Sorry, I'm going to run through a presentation. So you're either that side or that side. So you don't look at me. You follow from either that side or that side. I don't know how that works. I'm not actually going to present the Model Manifesto because that's a printed document. What I'm going to do is just to take you through the highlights of what we've done, because I think I'll leave that to Director General to, that will be his pleasure to actually launch the manifesto itself. Basically, if we go to the next slide, I'll say next. Ready? When I say next. I just want to touch on some just background thoughts, which I think some have already been mentioned. Go through the structure of the Model Manifesto, and then then come to a conclusion. So it's pretty straightforward. The first one, next. Next again. I think the context has already been given between Anne and Ada. We have a vision, right, under the political pillar. The expectation under the political pillar, issue-based, result-oriented, people-centered, accountable to the public, right? That's what the political pillar is about. We also have, and I think this is an important point that those of us who are in Naivasha for the political parties meetings, but even those who are not, is that we have two transitions taking place. There's the political transition, right, new leaders, but there's also what I'm calling the development transition, which is moving from MTP3, the third medium-term plan, to the fourth medium-term plan. So there are two transitions happening at the same time. And really what we're saying here is, how do we come together? The third thing, and I'm putting this as background, What we have here, all this what has happened here, and the engagement that Vision 2030 and the other stakeholders have had with political parties is really about three things. Communication, so there's been discussion since January about the National Development Agenda, the Model Manifesto, which we're talking about now, and I think there's actually going to be further engagement at a later stage with political leadership in terms of looking at the agendas of the new political leadership and saying, okay, how does this align with Vision 2030 and so on. There are two purposes, I think two main purposes that this manifesto serves, this model manifesto. And I think we've captured it. I think the first one, we're using it, it's not a prescription. I think that's an important point to make. This is a guideline. It's a guideline for political parties. The way we thought about it is it's a guideline for political parties to align their own policies, your own policy positions, your own platforms, your own electoral promises with the existing long-term agenda. And I think Vimal actually took the words out. It's good you came before me, Vimal, because basically there is a development agenda, right? There's not nothing new, there's not something outside there that we don't have. We have a development agenda. So aligning to that development agenda. I think the second thing is the manifesto can be used as a tool by Kenyans, right? Kenyans can use it as a tool for basically having dialogue on the manifestos that are available now. I think we now have all the 4 presidential candidates have issued their manifestos. I haven't quite seen the Roots one, except for that one-page thing. I haven't seen the one of Roots, but I've seen at least the other 3 parties have launched their manifesto. So you can actually have a discussion about those manifestos as a citizen in relation to the long-term development agenda. I always say I'm very suspicious when I see a manifesto that doesn't mention Vision 2030. I think I know, I've not read all of them, but I know at least one does. I'm not sure about the other 2. Because if you're not talking about Vision 2030, then you're creating a context which doesn't exist. I think that's the important point. So for me, that is the background on which this model was created. Next, Frederick, how are you doing? Now, the manifesto itself is in 3 parts. The first part is really kind of a background part, which is where we have the partners who have contributed and the ones, SDGs, Kenya Forum has already spoken, the other partners will speak. It's really about the statement from the partners and things like that. If you move to the next slide, I'll just show you. So this is kind of the non-manifesto introduction to the manifesto, if you see what I mean. Right? This is the background to the manifesto. So it's really about a general introduction to the overall document, because it is one document, acknowledgements, right? The people who contributed to make this manifesto. There's a statement from partners on what the model manifesto is supposed to achieve. And then there are, I think, 2 very important points, which are background. What we have done in a very kind of simple way, because everyone has their own memory of Kenya's history, is we've done a kind of a very short paragraph that talks about Kenya's political history from 1963 to today, right? In very, very broad terms, not this incident here and this and the coup in 1982, not that kind of thing, right? But really kind of what are the broad things that have happened in the last 50 years, 60 years. We've also done the same with the development planning perspective. Those of you who were in Naivasha a month ago will remember that we talked about the important sessional papers that have driven Kenya. Sessional paper number 10 of 1965, 10 of 1973, 1 of 1986, and now we have 10 of 2012, which is Vision 2030. So really, in a very short paragraph saying where we are coming from. 2 short paragraphs. One on politics, one on development perspective. And then the big kind of trick with this model manifesto, this is where the checklist begins. I said we are doing this as a checklist. Is we went for what we're calling the 3-legged stool. So the framing of everything under the manifesto is within what we call the three-legged stool. Vision 2030 is one leg, the SDGs is the second leg, and the Constitution is the third. What we are basically saying is, within those three, I don't know what to call them documents, within those three development frameworks, there is enough to put in a manifesto without creating new things. They are already there. We already have a development framework for Kenya, which is aligned to the East African one and the AU one. We have a global framework, which is already there, right? And we have a constitution, which we have in the text. You'll see what we describe. We look at the constitution as not as a legal document, but as a policy advisory. So in our minds, the constitution is about being imaginative on devolution and human rights. The chapters on devolution and human rights. It's about being imaginative in the chapters on leadership and integrity. Yeah, that is really, so that's the three-legged stool. So this is the basic picture around which the model is created. Next. Now the second part, so that's the first part, that's the kind of background to the background. The second part, this is where political parties come in. This is where now you start writing your manifesto. So what we had, if you remember from the draft we had in Naivasha, if you go to the next page, we had a very basic table of contents, and in the draft that you're going to get, we've actually left blank spaces for parties to fill in, right? A preamble, basically saying what is an overview of your manifesto, spirit and aspirations. Then for each party, right, something on your background as a political party, your vision and your values, your philosophy and your ideology. And I'll say one thing, by the way, this is an important point I want to make. One of the discussions that we had, that we've been having is on the importance of political parties. Remember, we're talking about party manifestos. I always get worried when I look at the manifestos that are out there and we're talking about individual manifestos. Right? The whole point, I think, of this whole discussion is we're trying to strengthen the political party system through issue-based politics. And part of this is having party manifestos. So that is why it is so important. And the other point I'll make is, and we've tried to make it, I think there's an article today in the press. I think you can't really have a sensible manifesto if you don't start from your philosophy and your ideology. So again, think about this in the Kenyan context. I think about it in the modern context, modern mature democracies, and think about it in Kenya. What do our political parties stand for? That's what we need to start thinking ourselves. So in fact, if I was thinking as a political party here, I would be starting off with, what am I thinking about as my vision? What are my values? What are the things I stand for? What is our philosophy? Are we people who believe in community values? What is our ideology? Are we guys who think about, for example, social democracy? Everyone says social democracy is a popular thing. What are our policy positions? Are we people who think about growth with redistribution as a policy position? Right? Because it is only by going through those steps that you then come to things like, for example, I won't call it bottom up, like trickle-up economics as a platform. But you don't come to the platform without starting from the philosophy, the ideology, your vision, your values. Right? So I think that is really the point. There's a short part on the macroeconomic context, and then there are thematic highlights in the manifesto under the 4 headings. We've used the 4 headings and then matched them back to the SDGs and the Constitution. The 4 headings in Vision 2030. So foundations and enablers, economy, social, and governance. As I said, the manifesto is probably longer than the ones that have actually been published. I'm just thinking about it. I don't know how long it is, but I suspect it's longer than all the ones that have actually been published. What we've done is, and I'm just going to show you this as an illustration. Sorry, the next page. Sorry, next. For each of the elements of foundations and enablers, we have identified a 2022 to 2027 theme. So if you look there, foundations and enablers, the first theme is about infrastructure. So the theme for 2022 to 2027, innovative world-class infrastructure that is sustainable, resilient, in addition to clean and accessible energy. The second theme is about ICT. So each of the themes aligns with each of the sectors. Yeah, that's really the approach we've used. This is the summary, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here. I'm just showing you, highlighting this. This is enablers. This is what we have on the economy. So for example, on agriculture, we are saying food security through sustainable and market-facing agriculture. On manufacturing, we are saying inclusive, sustainable, and resilient industrialization. On tourism, we are saying further efforts to make Kenya a tourism destination of choice. The direction is looking forward, right? So the theme is about looking forward. Social, you have again themes there. Quality, competitive, globally competitive quality education, equitable and affordable health care. These are themes. Now, and then of course, political governance. I just want to show you just the last one. Sorry, I'm jumping, eh? Sorry. Frederick, I was moving ahead of you. Sorry, that's the economy I was talking about. That's the social, and then that's governance. So you have a theme for each sector. There are 25 sectors. So you have a 2022 to 2027 theme for every sector, right? That's the main, that is still part of the framing. Now, just jump ahead. Fred, yes. The main part of the manifesto, which I'm not going to be able to cover here, this is now the details. And if you just go to the next page, I'll show you. The basic approach, the structure we have used is, I've told you there are 25 sectors or areas. Huh? If you look at those were 25 themes. So each theme applies to a sector or area. For each sector, for example, infrastructure, you have a Vision 2030 goal statement. You have its equivalent SDG, right? Because remember, we are linking to the SDG. You then have the theme for 2022-2027, which is not the same as the goal statement. The goal statement is the long term, to 2030. Then we have taken a positive approach. We're trying a lot of experiments here. We tried a positive approach. Rather than talk about challenges and shortfalls in a manifesto, we said, why don't we take a positive approach that says, where have we reached? In other words, what is the progress? Instead of saying, this has not been done, this has not been done, let's say, where have we reached? Therefore, in the commitments that follow, what next do we need to do? So if you look at the manifesto, you'll find, it's not comprehensive because, of course, of space, but you'll find for each sector, we've identified one or two progressive achievements that have been made. Then we've identified, we've made one or two or three promises to Kenyans based on that. Let me give you one or two examples. I had about 8, but let me show you one or two. Fred, let's do the next one. This is ICT. So this is the format for the rest of the manifesto. It's about, there's a page for each. So I'm really just going to summarize. So you have ICT, the Vision 2030 goal, ICT leverage for competitiveness. SDG linkages, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The theme, which was actually defined by a small working group, innovative world-class ICT infrastructure that is fit for purpose. There are many achievements in ICT. Because this is a guideline, what we did is we just picked one. Growth in internet connectivity across the population to 93%. ICT's contribution to GDP is now at 6.9%, and so on. Then, the last part, 2 promises to Kenyans. And we basically just, for purposes of illustration, these are not, because this is a model. Right, so we said just to help parties, political parties, this is where you fill in as political parties. But just to help you to think through what are the kind of things we'll be looking at. Expand internet connectivity to 100%, deepen e-government, promote e-commerce services. Right? I'll make one point, and I know it's a point which is being discussed even in the public domain. The approach we're using is the argument we're using is that the manifesto ends at what? The manifesto ends at what, not how. The how comes when you take over government. Right? So in a sense, what we're saying here, expand ICT, expand internet connectivity, that's the promise. No, Kenyans don't want to know how you do it. Let's be serious. They want to know this is the promise. They want to have a feeling of confidence that you can do it. But it's essentially the promise. I think we, as we say, we do politics in poetry, we do governance in prose. It is the prose of how to do it is not here. And I always get worried when I see a manifesto that says how, because it assumes there is no government. So it's an important point that we make in this model. You may think about it, you may decide it, not agree with it, but we think you stop at what? You don't stop at how. You don't go to how. And I think I mentioned this even in Naivasha, for those of us who are in Naivasha. The how, the strategy, that is now government work. Get into government and do that. What we want to know is what. I'll show you. Fred, let me just jump a few. Yeah, manufacturing. Here's another one. I'm doing this because of women. To get you annoyed. Again, manufacturing, the goal. Innovative, commercially oriented, and modern. That's what Vision 2030 says. SDG linkages. Manufacturing has, this is agriculture. Robust, diverse, and competitive. SDG linkages to jobs, industry innovation, responsible consumption and production. Those SDGs. The theme that the group came up with, the working group that organized this whole process, was inclusive, sustainable, resilient industrialization. The observation in terms of progress was that it had been averaging 8%, but it's come down. It's down to 6.9. I think the last figure was 6.9. The commitment is twofold. First, improve contribution to 7%, from 72% to 20%. We put a bit of how there, just to make it a bit. But really, this is internal, just to make it a bit more exciting. Pro-manufacturer strategy that addresses key production and competitive challenges, including tax regime and regulations. Although strictly that should be in the strategy. But we put it there as an illustration. The second one, I think, is promote a pro-market local manufacturing strategy that supports and facilitates the informal sector on Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. I will not get into the arguments we always have about the difference between pro-business, which is about existing business, and pro-market, which is about new markets, new business. This is pro-market. India had a very interesting view on this, about the difference between pro-business and pro-market. Let me just jump. Fred, I don't know if you can just jump. There are other illustrations. So basically, what we have, these are 8, but in total we have 25 pages like this, right, in the manifesto. And of course the manifesto has got all sorts of other graphics. So I just want to come to the end, the last slide. Let's move on, Fred. Concluding thoughts. I think if you're taking this away, you'll get the copy of the manifesto, hard or soft copy, and as political parties. What are your takeaways? I think first, you have a platform. What we've tried to do with this model is to give you a platform based on the three-legged stool. I think that's the first important point. Second, and I think this is because of the way we're doing it, it's always good to see what has been done before saying what will be done. So make an effort. We've tried to illustrate, but there's a huge amount of data available that tells you what has already been achieved. Therefore, what is next, or what then needs to be done. I think the third thing is it allows parties as yourselves to be innovative. I would say those commitments that we're showing there are just illustrative, but I'd probably be thinking about what are the things that we can do to deliver on goals. And one of the other points I think we make in the manifesto itself is not all parties need to do all things. right? You can have specialist parties. I mean, this is the case, you have this in the UK, in Europe, like the Green Party and so on. So not everyone needs to do everything. Yeah? So I think, again, we may want to just focus on one or two things in terms of innovations. I think, and this is probably something we just want to think about, we're talking about, I'm disturbed that we're thinking of manifestos and aligning them only with presidential candidates. My view is still that all political parties should have some form of manifesto, right? Or at least some form of platform, even if it's not in terms of the electoral sense, right? But you need to have some kind of position. So, for example, I think KANU does have a manifesto, if I'm not wrong. KANU actually is the one party I know that actually has published a manifesto. So they have a position, they take that position into the coalition that they've joined. You see what I mean? Or they pursue that position for their individual MPs. Yeah? So I think it's important. It is not the end. It's not just because presidential candidates have submitted doesn't mean the work stops for us. And remember, this is the work that continues from now. This is I think Anne is the one who said it. This is the beginning. Right? There's a lot of work that can be done, and this is really my final point. Start thinking again, your values, your vision, your philosophy, your ideology, your policy positions. Those are the things that you need to start thinking about now as you move towards kind of fine-tuning what you'd call platforms and then manifestos. Our argument is that platforms are the top and then manifestos are the detail. And with those very few short remarks, thank you. The end.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Sorry, I took too long, I know.
Thank you. Let's continue looking at our screens. We want to play for you a video of our ratification process in which political parties took part. So please do take a look at your screens. Thank you. Okay, we're clearly having a sound challenge. We'll return to the video shortly. We'll move swiftly along. Let's hear from our development partners to whom we're so grateful for working with us on this process. Joseph Kimani, I introduced him earlier to you. Please hold the video. Please hold the video. Please hold the video. Thank you. Thank you. We'll return to it. Thank you. Thank you. Joseph Kimani is a program manager, democratic governance at the Royal Danish Embassy. He's speaking to us today on behalf of the ambassador. Joseph, welcome.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joseph Kimani, as you've heard from Anne. And let me first of all start by bringing greetings from His Excellency the Ambassador. He's taking a very well-deserved summer break, but he sends his very warm greetings to all of you. PS Desai, Commissioner Ndungu, Vision 2030 Delivery Board and Director General Mwige, Chair Kenya Daima, Vimal Shah, my very good friends Frank and Florence, Center for Multi-Party Democracy and the SDGs Kenya Forum respectively, all guests, all protocols observed, and I know for the political parties this is a high season for you, so I know it's a big sacrifice finding time to be here this morning, so thank you very much for that. Let me also commend this partnership, Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, Center for Multi-Party Democracy Kenya, SDGs Kenya Forum, the Commission on Administration of Justice. You can and should be very, very proud of what you have done. From the presentation that has been done by Mr. Kabara here, very, very clearly you have a very, very good product. So you should take very great pride in what you've been able to achieve. And indeed, this partnership demonstrates one critical fact, that it is possible to midwife partnerships in delivery of Vision 2030. I'm sure all of us agree that the only way that Vision 2030 can be delivered is through partnerships between state and non-state actors. So the list that I've read here is clear demonstration of that spirit. Denmark is a very long-term supporter of Kenya's democratization process, and our partnership on this particular process here is further evidence of this. I know that there are a number of partners that are following this online, and we are very proud of our partnership with the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, represented by the Executive Director, Franklin Mukwanja. There are, through the Danish Institute for Political Parties, that is how this partnership has been made possible. The Danish taxpayer works with the Danish Institute for Political Parties. I know there are 3 parties that are following this, even as we speak right now. Vestra, that's the Liberal Party, the Social Democrats, and the Socialist People's Party. I know they are following this very keenly, virtually, and we thank them for that. Denmark is also very keen on the Sustainable Development Goals. Consultant Kabara, one of the things that I've really taken from your presentation is the 3-legged stool approach, where you've spoken about Vision 2030, the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Denmark has a very, very, very keen interest on the Sustainable Development Goals, and so we are particularly excited that there is alignment between this process and the Sustainable Development Goals. And in this period of the Decade of Action on the SDGs, it is particularly important that all of us adopt an all-hands-on-deck approach. All the efforts from everyone are required in this endeavor. Political parties, I'm sure you'll agree, are essential actors in the theater of democracy. And they are indeed central to the realization of any development agenda. So this process of aligning their manifestos to Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals confirms the centrality of political parties. And I want to commend once again your presence here today and your commitment, because I've been following what you did in Naivasha. I know you've worked extremely hard, 25 hours a day, Frank and Florence and Mr. Mwige, to deliver this. So congratulations, political parties, and keep up the good job. In conclusion, as you implement this, we would advise that you implement it from a human rights-based approach. Because one thing is clear, human rights and development are interdependent, and they are mutually reinforcing. When you implement human rights, you implement development. When you implement development, you implement human rights. So the two cannot be separated. So in conclusion, I want to congratulate you once again. You can count on Denmark's enthusiastic partnership. Well done, and we look forward to the implementation of this very, very important document. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're here in Russia today with the political parties under the auspices of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties and the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, and a few other people. This is the second meeting that we have with political parties. The first one was held in January this year, where we started political parties and we had a conversation about this country and where it is going. And the main purpose was to make sure that political parties do not forget that Kenya has a long-term development plan. We have a long-term development plan which has been running from 2008. We have gone through 3 medium-term plans. The first one went from 2008 to 2012. And in that first MTP is where we wrote the Constitution. That was the big deliverable of MTP 1 and the political period. And that new Constitution is what we enjoy today. And it is what has laid the basis for all the activities which are going on, including political parties in this forum. There's the second MTP, which went from 2013 to 2017. And we are now finishing the third medium term, which is running from 2018 to 2022. So the reason why we have this forum is to have a conversation, continue the conversation with political parties where Kenya is going. And the reason for this is so that political parties are able to refine their messages, refine the message. We all want to achieve Kenya Vision 2030. There's no political party which has come up to say we do not want a good country, we do not want roads, we don't want schools, we don't want hospitals, we don't want medicine. There's no political party which is an enemy of Kenya Vision 2030. Kenya Vision 2030 is what Kenyans want. That's what Kenyans want. All of them, whether they're in party A, B, C, or D. So the purpose of this forum is to remind political parties that Kenya is delicate. Kenya is delicate. A lot of work has gone on for very many years. Civil servants and public servants have worked incredibly hard over the last decade and a half to try and get us to where we are. And there's no one in Kenya today, any part of this country, who can say that they have not seen development. I challenge anyone, any part of this country, whether it is Mandela, whether it is Makuchongi, whether it is Moyale, whether it is Zabania, whether it is Namanga, whether it is Lunga, and everywhere in between. There is no part of this country which has not been touched by development.
Mimi, naitwa Abdulrahman Basari. I am the National Organizing Secretary of the Grand Old Party, Kenya African National Union CAN. Chama kilicholeta uhuru na kukufanya wewe kijana mdogo leo ukawa na haki katika nchi hii. Sisi kama KANU ni wataalamu wa manifesto. Tulikuwa na manifesto yetu ya kwanza 1963. Candidate wetu akiwa hayati Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Na manifesto yenyewe ilikuwa ni uhuru na haki na heshima kwa Afrika kujitawala mwenyewe. Hakuna election imefanywa katika nchi ya Kenya na manifesto ya KANU. Kwa hivyo watu wa Vision 2030 pia walikuwa wastahiki zaidi waliotuulize sisi maarifa ya kutengeneza manifesto. Lakini alhamdulillah nimeona masuala ya uchumi na katika chama sisi tumelaunch manifesto yetu 1 month ago kama tunataka. Na mchango wa 2030 Vision 2030 tumechangia kwa sababu huyo mwalimu wa hiyo alikuwa marehemu hayati Mzee Mwai Kibaki. Hayati Mzee Mwai Kibaki ndio the first executive officer wa KANU. Kwa hivyo historia ya KANU na maarifa ambayo tumeyapata katika conference ya 2030 Vision 2030 ni meno ya mbwa hayaumani Waswahili. Meno ya mbwa hayaumani. Na watakia mafanikio mema vyama vingine watengeze manifesto ambayo itajali maslahi yao. Na sisi katika manifesto yetu zaidi tuamini kuhusu umoja wa taifa. Umoja wa taifa, uwiano na uadilifu katika utawala.
Good afternoon. My name is Adam Karanani. I'm the Secretary General for Roots Party of Kenya. And as you're all aware, our presidential candidate, Professor Wajakoya, who just got here today and now is here to vie for the presidency of this republic in the August elections. So a brief manifesto of our party. Our party is a very inclusive party. We have members of all tribes in the country, and we have strived to include as many people as we can. The youth, as you can see, I'm a very young guy, and I'm the Secretary General of the party. And for the Vision 2030, you can see the pillars, the political, social, and economic pillars, and it basically talks about how we want to uphold our stand as a country and increase the economic empowerment of our people. So if you're not heard, then I'm going to tell you how our party, Roots Party, our main agenda going into the election is the legalization of marijuana for industrial, commercial, and health use. If you have noticed, countries in the world where they legalize marijuana for export, the amount of money that it can bring for the sustainable development of the country, if used well, it can make the best medicines, the best paper, the best clothing material, the best roads. So our plan is to, if we get into power, we will strive to make marijuana an incredible export of the country so that we can gain money from it. And again, of course, the other things, agriculture, developing the less fortunate of the society, going into the villages and empowering those people with jobs so that they can sustain themselves and for the betterment of their own people and their families.
All right, I believe we're done. Let's a round of applause for our political parties. Well done, thank you. Let's return now to hearing from our partners. We're very pleased to have the Commission on Administrative Justice with us, who have been walking with us through this process. Lucy Ndongo needs very little introduction. You also know her from her previous roles. And Lucy, we are so grateful to you for the support that the Commission has given to this forum. She is a Commissioner with CAJ. Welcome, Lucy. A round of applause for her. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say all protocols observed, but because I'm government, I still have to say it all. Our PS, and I'm very grateful you are with us today because government is represented in this forum. The whole of the Board of Directors, our Director General, the staff of Vision 2030, and our partners who are today joined by Mr. Shah, and our partners are CMD. We have walked this journey together. We have Mr. Kimani from the Danish Embassy. We also have our SGD representative from the forum, the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, all political parties present, and I haven't seen Ms. Sati, PPLC, I don't know Wamagata, where your PPLC chair is, but if you are representing him, I'm happy to see all of you, and to note that we have come from far. I want to say that this is the first time as a country we are having a model manifesto for Kenya. Since 1963, We came all the way and gave ourselves a new constitution with very good thematic areas, but nobody guided political parties on how to come up with manifestos which will address the three-legged tools we have been told about. That is our constitution, our vision 2030, which was learning when we gave ourselves the constitution, and also the SGD, which we know we are supposed to implement as a country, and we are always checked whether we are moving together with the world. We cannot live in isolation. So for our commission, which is the Commission on Administrative Justice, and our constitution, and implementing human rights chapter, that is Article 59 of our constitution, whereby we are supposed to ensure that government delivers service delivery to the Kenyan, and also we implement or we oversight access to information. We are happy to be part and parcel of this team. As a commission, we are aware that the United Nations General Assembly in 1946 did state clearly that freedom of information is a fundamental human right, and it is the touchstone of all the freedom to which the United Nations is consecrated. And when we talk about United Nations, we are also talking about our country, which is part and parcel of the United Nations. And as a commission, we want to say that all manifestos should be made open. All manifestos should be interrogated using this tool, as we have been told before. It is a tool for citizens to interrogate manifestos and ensure that where we are going, it's in the right direction. As a commission, we want to assure you, Vision 2030 will work with you, we will collaborate and ensure that service delivery is delivered in the right way, following the three-legged tool. Thank you very much, and I wish you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please welcome a representative of the Political Parties Liaison Committee, Tabu Daniels. Is Tabu with us? All right, we'll move swiftly along, but we do thank the political parties for liaising with us. We'd also just like to thank in absentia as well the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Is Tabu with us? He is with us, fantastic. Thank you, Tabu. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. Wakenya hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Wageni wetu hamjambo. For avoidance of doubt, my name is Tabu or W. Daniels. I serve NAC Kenya as the Executive Director. I am here speaking to you in my capacity, one, as a member of the Political Parties Liaison Committee. Little history about Political Parties Liaison Committee. This is a committee that brings on board three serious actors: the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, IEBC, and all fully registered political parties to dialogue. So it is a platform of dialogue that is enshrined in the law. So as I speak to you, all I am appealing to you is all the stakeholders, let us dialogue. This country needs everybody, and we can achieve a lot when we dialogue. A little history about the journey on this model manifesto. That number one, with the support of the Danish embassy, we had an occasion to go to Denmark, and we were taken through a course on policy dialogue. And we are grateful that Joseph is here from the Embassy of Denmark, and Frank is here from CMD, who are the main people behind this process. While in Denmark, we learned that there is this slogan of don't leave anyone behind. So when you don't leave anyone behind, it means that even in competition, you don't compete with those who are mediocre. You compete with those you are at the same level with. Then when you become a victor, you celebrate because you are competing with the champions, and you are now a champion of champions. So the journey for a collaborative or a joint initiative started, and this is one of the fruits of not leaving anyone behind. Back home, CMD and SDG Forum now had a conversation with our good friend, Director General of the Vision 2030. And you can see that that collaboration has taken us to where we are. Eventually, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties was brought on board. And because a model manifesto is a commitment that a political party makes to the Kenyans, it is not about the party saying things for the sake of winning votes, but it is a contract between the party and the citizens. It was important that this conversation goes beyond what is done by what we call the technocrats and eventually given to the people. A conversation was started and an engagement with the political parties, and we are grateful that the political parties that are here, while in Naivasha, made a commitment. They validated the document that is being launched today. So this is one of those initiatives that I can speak without fear of contradiction, that has taken into account Article 10 of the Constitution on public participation. That as the stakeholders, as well as the people who are going to commit, we have been part of this journey. And today, as we launch this model manifesto, it is not that we were told, sign the dotted line. No, that is not the case. This is a case where we were able to validate, and we said this is good for this country. What therefore is in it for us as political parties? That number one, the facts as they are, and you know numbers don't lie. Those facts are telling us this is where we are. But this is where we wanted to go. So as a political party, how do you take us to our zenith? Every political party that is in here, and especially the four that have presidential candidates, have launched their manifestos. It is not too late. We are saying that we are looking at Kenya from the lens of the SDGs and Kenya from the lens of Vision 2030. What is the aspiration that you have? How is it speaking to these two? Kenya is not an island. Kenya is operating in Africa. So we have our AU 2063. Kenya is not an island. Kenya belongs to the world. So globally, how are we seeing this country? It is important that as we are in this launch as political parties, not only do we own this document, but we are also having a commitment that as we go out there seeking for votes, we will help people to understand that SDGs is not for books. SDG is our daily lives. If you are living around the forest and you are destroying it, remember you are affecting SDG number 14. If you are around the lake and you are polluting the lake or the ocean, you are actually working against SDG number 14. So all we are saying is that the 17 goals are your life, and therefore you need to be careful how you deal. We cannot end hunger if we are not taking care of our environment. They are interconnected and interrelated. As we do our politics, as we work towards 9th of August 2022, it is important as political parties that we live the spirit and the letter of the Constitution and all the other documents that are for the betterment of this country. For and on behalf of political parties, Liaison Committee, I want to say thank you very much to the Vision 2030. Thank you very much to all the other stakeholders who have walked this journey with us. Thank you very much, our Kenyans, and let us together ensure that we have a country we are proud of. Hallelujah, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, political parties, for owning this process. Thank you. We will then now welcome a partner who has been part of the technical working group. You have heard him already alluded to as putting countless man-hours to make this possible. He is the Executive Director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy in Kenya, Franklin Mkwanja. A round of applause. We will applaud everyone who comes up. Thank you, Franklin.
Thank you, and good morning. My name is Franklin Mkwanja from the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. Dr. Desai, the PS, Government of Kenya, Mr. Vimal Shah, representing Kenya Daima, the board representatives, the DG and his team from Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat, former PS, Ole Tiampati, Mr. Seth Nyamwaya, representing the Office of the Solicitor General, Mr. Vincent Nyagilo, National Economic and Social Council, Commissioner Ndungu, and Register of Political Parties Emeritus, and the political parties present, dear friends, partners joining us virtually from Denmark, and members of the CMD Steering Committee, good morning. Are you not happy, or is the fever for elections really daunting you? Good morning. Thank you very much. It is an honor to be here with you today to officially launch the Model Manifesto for Political Parties. I say so because it's only the very committed in any field that will take the time and make the sacrifice to come so far like this. We are happy to see such commitment. It's been a long journey having conversation with my brother Ken, whom I must commend for making working with government pretty easy. With his tray of eggs makes things quite easy to explain. And thank you for that support, and thank you for the partnership. We set out to promote the inclusion of SDGs into party manifestos and to build the capacity of political parties and their candidates in the area of SDGs. And this has been a long conversation, both at inter-party level. We had a 3-day seminar with political parties in Naivasha. We had a technical team looking at this to prepare for that. Last week, Bwana DG, we engaged over 8 political parties. And this I kept as a secret to tell you this morning, that with you, there are things that we do, and quietly as well with political parties. At night, we do our things so that we can be able to come and look good in front of all of us. Thank you. And we have had 8 political parties having intra-party conversation, already having a sneak preview of what this is. So Kabara, we have already given them some more Kenya to understand this. And this will continue. It's not just stopping here, having a multi-party conversation, but also at intra-party level, political parties need to grasp these concepts on their own so that they can be able to articulate these issues. We are doing this not just as a by the way. This is part of CMD Kenya's strategic goal. We envision ourselves as a thought leader in political governance and democracy development, engaging with political parties, civic actors, and policymakers through policy influence and capacity building. And this is what we want to continually do. And this is what I have continually told our partners, that it is remotely impossible to have a conversation of a national development agenda. As much as we are talking about political parties and helping them, the government and other actors, the policymakers, must be around the table so that we can collectively support our political parties. In any case, the senior most public servant is a politician. We are in that business of recruiting one in August. And therefore, it behooves us that even the captains of industries, like Vimal Shah here, will still go back to Parliament to expect that the politicians make legislations that either push the business agenda forward or challenges the environment of doing business. And therefore, we must all positively contribute to our political and democratic development work. Ladies and gentlemen, the transformative and unifying vision of Kenya's development blueprint, that is Vision 2030, and the SDGs could have some value at times such as this. Yet, this will transpire only if the goals can find their way into the diverse arenas of discourse that lead to policy change. These arenas include civil society in all its disguises, in all its guises, business, big and small, and the different branches of government, but more so, the orthodox party politics. Sustainable development initiatives that have focused on state-led action have failed because they have not acknowledged the multiple sources of power that drive change. When political parties are strong, and when political support is strong, consistent and long-term, it can create an enabling policy base that is embedded deeply enough to withstand crisis and changes of government. And it is important that we listened clearly to what Kabara was trying to inform us this morning. We have two transitions. We're focusing on the political transition, but the most significant one is the development transition that is happening. And only when we make sure that such processes have strong political support, we are consistent, and we are long-term in our intentions, will we ensure that the changes in such a transitional time will not affect our stability, will not interfere with our development agenda and consistency in planning. Political actors need to believe that sustainable development is more than sloganeering, that it is required, it is equipped with tools for achieving mainstream development objectives such as economic growth, job creation, poverty reduction, that are more efficient than the tools they now use. The vision of sustainable development will not be only achieved through a stepwise technical process of analysis and coordination that implements the 17 goals and countless targets. Instead, it will entail a mix of state-led, market-led, technology-led, and citizen-led processes that together aspire to sustainable development and together achieve wholesale transformation on many fronts. Today, many forces are driving change around the world, some potentially dangerous. Down south, we have xenophobia, including the United States, where we're seeing a lot of issues around Black Lives Matter. We have populism politics that is on the rise. We have ethnic nationalism, like is the case of our motherland. We also have some other ramifications whose effects are not yet clear. We're witnessing new geopolitical alignments. We're witnessing the rise of social media and its challenges to politics. While these challenges and these changes could well create an unfavorable environment for sustainable development, if the SDGs are framed as a tool for rational debate and reform of national pathways, their greatest contribution could be to help guide and inspire countries such as ours as they navigate through the challenges of the coming years. And this is why I want to beseech political parties that political party manifestos cannot be just at the campaign time. Let us take these documents pretty seriously. Let us pitch what we want to do, and when we get an opportunity to govern, let us deal with the hows we've been advised. But in between the elections, let us have a continual conversation about this. And as CMD, I want to commit on behalf of our board, and the steering committee is well represented here, and the member political parties and our partners that are tuned in, that we will continue this conversation with the political parties, by the political parties. We will find opportunities to bring government on board and have a conversation with them, and also continually engage the civic actors. So thank you very much, Mr. Ken Muige, for allowing us to partner with government to have this conversation. And it is a commitment that going forward, even after the elections, these conversations will continue. I hope that the private sector, the government will continually open the doors for this conversation. Because at the end of the day, remember, the senior-most public servant is a political animal, and we have to contribute to the making and the choices of the political animal that we want him or her to govern us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, CMD, for your partnership and for your leadership as well. And now a representative of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, Sylvia Makanga.
Dr. Kevit Desai, the PS East African Community, Dr. Shah, the board representatives present, the DG VDS, Franklin Mukwanja, the Executive Director CMD, Florence Yavuo from SDGs, the former PS, Joseph Oletiampati, Commissioner Ndungu, all partners present and all political parties present, all protocol observed. Good morning. My name is Sylvia Makanga. I'm a compliance officer from the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. First and foremost, allow me to present the registrar's apologies. She was not able to join us today because of the exigencies of duty elsewhere, but she sends her greetings, and I hope that you have received her greetings. It's a great pleasure and honor to be joining you all today for such a very memorable event. And as we were taken through in Naivasha, the country's long-term development blueprint, Vision 2030, is motivated by a collective aspiration for a better society for the year 2030. So as we move on, we learned that political governance and economic governance plays a major role towards ensuring that the national development blueprint to create a globally competitive and prosperous nation with a high quality of life by 2030 is achieved. And as a regulator of political parties, when we are reviewing your constitutions, one of the things that we check as having been provided for in your constitutions is the policy documents upon which the political party will create and develop on. And I believe the manifestos, or the manifestos that you develop in your individual parties, are such documents. So as we are here today, I hope to be able to see how we have aligned our political parties to the Vision 2030 development blueprint, and I hope that this will inspire us to move forward as a country and to even provide better for our Kenyan society. I want to thank the political parties present. Thank you for turning out in large numbers, and I hope that we shall be able to learn more to move this country forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Ladies and gentlemen, we're drawing close now to the launch, the official launch of this blueprint, this document that we've been talking about. But first, we want to say with gratitude, and when I say we, I mean all the partners that have been mentioned and the political parties who are in the room, to Vision 2030, its board, its leadership. Because whilst we politic, there's somebody who's keeping an eye on the ball for Kenya. Can we applaud them? Thank you, Vision 2030, for staying true to your mission, for keeping Kenya on course, and for reminding us that there is a destination for this country. Parties come and go. Is that true, political parties? They change, power comes and goes, but Kenya remains our focus, our destination, the well-being of the Kenyan people. And so we're grateful to Vision 2030, to Kenya Vision 2030, to its leadership, to its board, to its delivery secretariat, who are not just critical partners and key stakeholders, but in fact those who we look to for leadership to keep the Kenyan government in perpetuity, in check, delivering for the nation. And so now it is my pleasure to welcome Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat Director General Kenneth Mwige to make his remarks. Director General, welcome.
Jambo. How are you this morning? Was the breakfast enough? It was enough? Is it finished or there's still more? Julie, stop. Is it there more breakfast? Huh? I signed a very big check for food. Good morning, everyone. I think today let's just start with our guests of honor. And our guests of honor are the political parties here. You're the most important people in this room. As we are just here to support you and hope that you remember us kindly when you come to power. So let me, and like I keep saying, any of these political parties, any of them can become the next government. All you need to do is strike a chord with Kenyans. Have you seen attempts at striking chords? Have you seen attempts at striking a chord? Huh? You strike a chord with money, you strike a chord with something else, you look for anything that can strike a chord. So we respect all of you. You can, all of you, easily become tenants of State House, and that is how we look at it. If you allow me to do just a few quick protocols, my bosses are in the room. Dr. Kevin Desai, who's the chair of my S&P committee. Mr. Joseph Tiampati, who's the chair of my F&A committee. Representative of the Honorable, the Solicitor General of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Seth Nyamweya, representing SG. We have Dr. Vincent Nyagilo here from my board, who is Secretary of National Economic and Social Council. And Nesk is a grandfather, or maybe the father, maybe the father of Vision, not the grandfather yet. Board members, representatives, I know there are a few. Mr. Mwara, I've seen a few. Please feel recognized this morning. ORPP, our dear partners, Lucy, Commissioner Lucy Ndongo, asante sana. Thank you for your support and everything and for being here. Dr. Vimal Shah. Who doesn't know Vimal Shah? He was probably involved in your breakfast this morning. He's a face of manufacturing and of Kenya for many years, and we're grateful you're here, sir. Frank Mukwanja, a man who is has not reached where he's going. Watch that man, is somewhere he's going. Of the CMD, asante sana. Florence Yevuo, bringing the international dimension to this whole process with the Sustainable Development Goals, to remind us that Kenya, you know, sometimes we think that Kenya is very important, huh? But there's a very good app on all your phones. It's called Google Earth. When you press location, it shows you where you are. And where you are, there are very many things happening. You are consumed in those things. Your home, your office, your job, your village, your political party. You're just consumed. But if you zoom out a bit, you realize maybe all those things which are disturbing you are not very important. Because if you're in Mbere, a Shorere village like me, wondering how to repair my cow pen, and that's a problem which is disturbing me, somebody in Kakamega doesn't know that problem, do they? Zoom out a bit, you see the whole of Kenya. Zoom out a bit, you see East Africa. Zoom out a bit, you see Africa. Zoom out a bit and you come out completely of this little world we are in, and you realize we are part of something unimaginably big. So these small problems we deal with at our personal level have an international dimension. We are part of something bigger than where we are in this country called Kenya. That's Florence reminding us that. Representatives of all political parties here, like we said, we recognize you. You're the guests of honor here. The Political Parties Liaison Committee, very important institution. Thank you very much for being here and for the work you're doing. Mr. Kimani, Danish Embassy. Asante Sana, development partners. We are all trying to make the world a better place. And if there's something we've learned in the last 2 years, it is that I can eat something funny in Mbere and then disturb the whole world. Is that true? Someone ate something funny somewhere in China, we hear, we don't know. And the whole world did what? Shut down. So we are all interconnected. It truly is a global village. Truly it is. And then allow me to just say all protocols observed, in case I've missed somebody. I don't intend to say a lot this morning. We are approximately 34 days away from the general elections. 34. Like this. And then it's all over. It's like the social events we plan. You have a birthday party, you have a funeral, you have a wedding. You can plan for years and years and years. But on the day, how many hours are there? There are 8 hours. This whole business will be finished in 12 hours. And then we will all go back home. I can promise you, none of you will sleep in State House on 9th of August. I can tell you that for a fact. None of you here in this room, apart from the winner of the election who might be here. The rest of us, we will quietly go to the bus stop and quietly go back to where we came from, peacefully. And then you will go back and find your neighbor is still there. The neighbor is still there. Your maid, your cook, your groundsman, the people who help you, they are all still there. And life will continue. Nobody is giving you a check on 10th of August, the day after the election. Usidanganywe. So that's where we are. Kenya Vision 2030 is a long-term development plan. And I won't repeat what has been said. And the reason why we got involved with this partnership is to remind the country that we are not disorganized. We're not running around like headless chickens. From 2008, there has been a plan to develop this country. And it moves like a caterpillar. After 5 years, inasonga, MTP1. After another 5 years, it's moving, MTP2. After another 5 years, we are now finishing MTP3. So this thing, government is big. And this is what political parties need to understand. Even as you make your promises about how you will change everything in 2 days, and how you will do this in 100 days, civil servants are just looking at you and wondering, do you know which country are you living in you? Which country are you living in? Do you know to change anything, you have to have committees, public participation, you have to involve people, you have to have meetings, you have to get consensus, then you have to start implementing, and then you have to wait for taxes to be collected so that you can get your share. So there's nothing you're really doing in those days you're saying. Let's be realistic. So we are trying to see whether we can also bring these political promises being made to the road. Many of them are hanging in the air, and you can see no connection between the political promise and the reality on the ground. So we want to see whether we can change that for all our benefit as Kenyans. You know, I have a speech, eh? I've reached a page which says, ladies and gentlemen. One thing I want to mention here, I'm paraphrasing this because I don't want to read everything. It always sounds different when you start reading and when you're talking. I said in Crown Plaza in Upper Hill, I said in Naivasha. I think this election is different. It's different because for the first time we are really talking about issues. And this is one of the biggest dividends of the political pillar of Kenya Vision 2030. Because it says very clearly we want issue-centered politics. Issues. People are saying we want water. People are saying we are hungry. People are saying we have no jobs. Nobody is saying Mberes are hungry. Or Kikuyus want jobs. Or Luyas want hospitals. Or Turkanas want this. Or El Molos want that. All of us, whoever you are, wherever you come from, we want the same things. You want to wake up in the morning safely, nothing happened to you at night. That is called security. And government does what it does in the dark so that we are all able to sleep with confidence that we will wake up tomorrow morning. Then you want to wake up and have something to eat in the morning. And then you want to go somewhere to do something useful with your day. And then you want to come home to your family in the evening. Who doesn't want that? Raise your hand. People want different things. Me, that's what I pray for every morning. See me safely home, see me safely back, and let me come home with some bread for my children. That's all. That's all Kenyans want. So we are on the same page, all of us, and like we said earlier on, there's no enemy of Kenya Vision 2030. There's no enemy, because we all want the same good things. The only question is, how will we get them? And who is the person best placed, or the people best placed, or the party best placed, based on what they're telling us they will do to give us what we want. And like one of the previous speakers here said, what we are doing right now actually is job interviews. Have you forgotten we are doing job interviews? The whole country is conducting job interviews. We are conducting job interviews for the MCA in my village, in my ward, in Mbeti South. Then after that, I will conduct an interview for a member of parliament. Then after that, I will conduct an interview for a governor and his deputy, or her deputy, as the case may be. Then after that, I will conduct an interview for a president and a deputy president of this country. So every Kenyan right now is an interview panel. They are all walking around. You know who are sat in an interview panel? Please raise your hands. Interview panels? Yeah, the candidates are all there, and you're sitting holding your pen, you're rather bored. You're waiting for the candidate to say something interesting. Something more interesting than the last 3 or 4 candidates you've been interviewing all morning. The first one, okay, the second one, but the third one, you know what they're all saying. So you're sitting there waiting for somebody who will say something interesting. This manifesto we are launching today is what allows you to say something interesting. To say something interesting. And we have seen a few attempts at saying something interesting. And the moment you say something interesting, what happens to Kenyans? They do this and they say, able to scare more of what this person is saying. So the manifesto gives you a chance to differentiate yourself from all the other political parties. And you need to be bold in your manifesto. You need to be like Muammar Gaddafi, for example, who said, I'm going to build a man-made river in Libya. And he did it in the desert, a man-made river in the desert. We need the courage of Thomas Sankara, who said, I'm going to put a green belt across the whole of Africa to stop the Sahara Desert from coming down. And he started it, but in 4 years they killed him. So we have many issues, some are geopolitical, there are many issues. But when it comes down to our Kenya, we have to make sure that we're making steady progress. And we are not enemies of each other here in this room. And as political parties, we are not enemies of each other. All of us want the same thing. If a political party doesn't manage to grab power this election, I'm sure you hope that whoever has grabbed power takes the country forward. Is that true? Who hopes that when they don't get power, Kenya burns and goes up in flames? Nobody. So whoever wins, we all wish them well. Please take care of Kenya. Usiangushe Kenya. Don't crash us in a tree. Yeah, don't drive us over the cliff. We are all sitting in this bus. Please drive responsibly. Don't behave like the people on the expressway who think it is a what do you call the places where aeroplanes land? A runway. Yeah, let's be careful with this country. Let's take care of this country. So that's the message. We have had a very good partnership since the beginning of this year. And my brother Mkwanja says that it's good for government to talk with the private sector. My side of government, the one I know, our doors are open. Commissioner Lucy Ndungu's doors I know are open. We sit here to serve the people. We sit here as servants of the people. Our salaries are paid by the people. So we have no option as government but to be open and to listen to the people. Walk into any office, it is your right. It is your right to walk into my office and to say, I want to talk to you about X, Y, or Z. And it is my obligation to listen to any Kenyan who comes saying, I'm thinking this or I'm thinking that. Because you don't know where the next good idea will come from, including this one. This whole idea started around January. And we said, there's something interesting happening in this country. Can we do something about it to help Kenyans make good decisions in August? So we don't know where the next good idea will come from, so our doors are open. I just want to assure you that our doors are open, and we are looking to see whether we can deepen and widen this partnership so that we have good outcomes for this country. Administrative governance transition, MTP4 is in preparation. It's been in preparation since about January or February, actually last year, late last year. And the way it works is that we do maybe 80% as public servants, civil servants. And then 20% Dennis, am I right? 20% is reserved for the winning political formation to be able to influence the whole MTP to its agenda. And they have a right to do that because they have won the confidence of a majority of Kenyans. You have a right to do that. So the beauty of Kenya Vision 2030 and the way it is implemented through MTPs is that any winning political formation has space to pivot the MTP to their agenda. And that's what happened with MTP 3, if you remember. 4 big things. What were they? Manufacturing, affordable housing, healthcare, and food security. Okay? That doesn't mean nothing else was happening. Roads are still being built, hospitals are still being done, schools are still being done, but the administration chose to focus on those 4 things, for example. So there is space for you in MTP4 as political parties to come in and influence your agenda for the next 5 years. And one of you in this room will be in government, will be running government for us from about 35 days from now. One of you in this room will be running government for us. I'm about to finish. We have a technical working group with several institutions, the SDGs Forum, led by Florence. We have the Commission on Administrative Justice, CAJ, also called the Ombudsman, a place I'm slightly familiar with. We have a Center for Multi-Party Democracy, CMD, doing a great job, and UN Women. We have done a lot of work. This is a very good progress we have made. And I'm hoping that we are going to increase the level of interaction, and let's come up with something good for this country, not just for this election, but also for the next election. Because once you have this model manifesto, there's still time, by the way. 34 days are very, very many. I participated in the first election in 1992. That's when I was able to vote. Tells you how old I am, roughly. Mrs. Ndongo, don't laugh. We're behind you slightly, but we are there. This is in your tuko. And all I remember is waves. You don't hear of a certain political party. Let's talk about Kenneth Matiba, for example, a man I'm named after in certain ways. He was sick, he's in hospital, then he lands from the airport, and then all of a sudden, even the chickens on the road, they are excited. Something happens. A day is a long time in politics. So there is time, even now, between now and the election. Please, go to the section of this manifesto which we are launching. Refine your message. Refine your promises to Kenyans. And whoever of you does the best job is going to win. Is that true? Yeah, we're going to a competition. And unfortunately for Kenya's general elections, it's not like primary school, where nowadays we say that everybody is a winner. Yeah, we don't rank children anymore. Yeah, everyone is a winner and everybody graduates. No, there will be somebody who gets the most votes and everybody else. Because the difference between number 2 and number 91 is the same. Is the same. So we are worried about that party which will take the top position. And we want to request you very, very, very humbly, because any of you will be in power in 35 days. Please take care of Kenya. Please take care of Kenya. After the election, we'll still be here. Let me stop here, and it will be my pleasure before the next speaker to invite the acting chair of our board for now, Mr. Chiampati. Please come and say a few words. Asanteni. Tuko pamoja.
Hamjambo nyote. Well, I just want to take this opportunity to recognize our PS, ESC, Dr. Desai, our DG and his team, and all these other stakeholders who have taken part in this process. The CMD, the SDG representative, and ORPP, and even the political parties represented here. I just want to recognize all of you and to thank you for the good job that you have done in coming up with the document that we are launching today. I do not want to belabor the things which have been said. I just want to say that we are proud as Kenya Vision 2030 to lead this effort to put together the teams to be able to come up with this model manifesto. I just want to make it clear to the political parties that we value your participation. We do not want to ignore the role of political parties in helping us to achieve the Kenya Vision 2030 objectives. Sometimes the political pillar is a very quiet pillar until the elections. And we do not want to forget that today is a milestone because it's historic. It's the first time that we have come up with this model since independence, a model for political parties. And looking back at those of us who are of age in the 80s and the 90s, when there was this issue, this fight for multi-party democracy, the country went through a lot in the so-called second liberation. And now we have multi-party democracy, which it is our responsibility to protect. And the only way we can protect this is to ensure that we are faithful to our constitution, and also to ensure that political parties are innovative and constructive in the way that we come up with our manifestos and in the way that we approach governance. I think the key word today, the key words today that we can take home is, the first one is alignment, and the second one is partnership. Alignment to as we come up with these manifestos to ensure that they are properly aligned. We do not operate in isolation. I think it's our responsibility as political parties now to relook at our manifestos. It's not too late to ensure that those manifestos are relevant and properly aligned to the Kenya Vision 2030, the SDG goals, and the United Nations goals, as well as the Kenya Constitution 2010. If our manifestos are not aligned to this, I think we have a responsibility to ensure that we look at this after this to ensure that they are properly aligned. And then the last thing is just maintaining the spirit of partnership. We intend to continue doing so as we move forward as Kenya Vision 2030 to be able to achieve our goals, especially as we manage the transition from the MTP3 to MTP4, and as we deal with the issues of the elections, 22 elections, that we shall continue to require that the spirit of partnership with the private sector, government and non-government actors. We must continue to work together. I represent the private sector in the board, and I just want to let you know that it is the business sector in Kenya, the private sector is on board as far as as we move forward with implementation of the Vision 2030. So thank you so much, and I wish you well as we look forward towards launching the model manifesto for political parties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair, sir. Before we invite the PS to make his remarks, this is the document that you heard a little bit from, and you're going to share this with all of you. This is the document that we want you to interrogate shortly, and we may have a moment or two in the plenary so that political parties, you will be able to raise your views, make your comments as soon as we do the launch. It is now a great pleasure to welcome the PS, State Department of East Africa Community in the Ministry of EAC and Regional Development, and also the Chair of the Social and Political Committee of the Vision 2030 Delivery Board, Dr. Kevin Desai. Welcome.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it truly is a pleasure and an honor to address you today, and the significance that you hold by the fact that through the diversity of leadership, the leadership within this room that significantly contributes to where we are as a nation, in particular our tribulations as well as our challenges, but the significance of this diversity too, the diversity within this room that reflects the possibility and hope for innovation, creativity, and resourcefulness. And indeed, it is an honor to address you today, and in particular, the significance of what we would like to launch within the context of a guideline. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to emphasize that today, through the very speeches that were made earlier on, and the sentiments shared, and the ideas and the thoughts and the insights that have contributed to the progress we've made on the guidelines, that indeed today is significant. It's historic from various perspectives and promotes the highest level of transformation within the context of, first and foremost, reinforcing the continuity of Vision 2030 through this initiative. But it also promotes a sense of collective ownership, a sense of collective responsibility, a sense of collective action towards that consistency. It emphasizes the possibility, through having systematic frameworks and structures, the possibilities of innovation and creativity towards achieving the outcomes of Vision 2030. It emphasizes the fact that, we anchor this document, the efforts to date, the cumulative efforts to date, on the very ability for us to anchor to our independence movement and some of the challenges that we faced with respect to acquiring prosperity. And so indeed it's a journey from the time Kenya gained independence, its aspirations, and all the way to its strategic interventions by various political parties and where we are today. Most importantly, it creates a dialogue and creates the emphasis with respect to a framework towards a dialogue, and therefore promotes cultural involvement within the context of our development as we go forward. Ladies and gentlemen, and indeed this is why today is significant and why your contributions today, your collective contributions, are essentially the very foundation of the success of such a launch and such hope and vision as we go forward. The Kenya Vision Delivery Board and the Secretariat has a unique role of playing that coordination capacity, spearheading and communicating initiatives towards the realization of the vision. The need for a multi-stakeholder approach to facilitate delivery of the Vision 2030 is one of the core mandates of the Secretariat through the Vision Delivery Board. It's this belief with respect to promoting a collective action and bringing all the different stakeholders together in view of the fact that the diversity is the possibility of hope. The goal of the political pillar of the Kenyan Vision 2030 is a democratic political system that is issue-based, people-centered, results-orientated, and accountable to the public. And indeed, this is what we all espouse within the context of our development. To achieve the political pillar's aspirations, various necessary reforms have been identified in this national development blueprint, including ensuring elections are free, fair, and violence-free, strengthening the fight against corruption, ensuring a level playing field for businesses and entrepreneurs through institutional reforms, modernizing the criminal justice system, and improving on Kenya's ranking in governance at international levels. The year 22 is significant in the Vision 2030 calendar. The general election marks an important national transition. The first is a political transition following the election with new leaders elected at national and county level. The second is a development transition as the Kenya Vision 2030 implementation cycle graduates from Medium-Term Plan 3 to Medium-Term Plan 4 in 2023. It is in this context the Vision Delivery Board has endeavored to bring together key players to collaborate effectively towards vision goals and objectives. Political parties play a very important role in this transition. We recognize that they promote the interests of the voters. They have conceptualized various development programs over the years, which have been implemented when they form government. It is increasingly clear that we are now linking political visions and public policy programs and projects, which goes very well for the future of Kenya. The session we have today is to recognize your development agendas and increasingly urge you to enhance the gains made towards the development of our nation through issue-based politics and peaceful democratic elections as envisioned in our development blueprint and the Vision 2030. The board and the Secretariat will continue to play this intermediary role in consultation with stakeholders such as your institutions towards the realization of the vision goal. Let me close by congratulating all the political parties that were involved in the formation and part and parcel of the development of this blueprint, and indeed that consensus that was developed in Naivasha with such a formidable and inclusive outcome within the context of the guideline. And indeed this now opens yet another new chapter in our development. I therefore urge you to keep pushing the development agenda throughout the election process and beyond, and wish you very much success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, PS. Sir, if I may request you to remain on the stage and to be joined by the leadership of Vision 2030, its Director General, its Deputy Chair, as we're about to launch the document. If I would please call on stage and also our high tables, our development partners, CMD Kenya, as we prepare to officially launch this document. our representative from the Commission on Administrative Justice, from CMD Kenya, and of course the Delivery Secretariat from political parties, and indeed the leadership of Vision 2030.
Everybody must hold one. Yeah. Can you move this back or to the side?
May I request you to cut? You're going to cut it. P.S. May I request you to come here, please, sir?
Oh, it's
Please watch your step. Please watch your
Understand,
step.
right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what are we taking here? Studying here?
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to announce the launch of the Political Parties Model Manifesto for Kenya. Let's congratulate all our stakeholders with a round of applause. Makofi tafadhali. Congratulations on the launch of this model manifesto for political parties and for Kenya. And we're grateful to all our partners for supporting this launch. Thank you very much.
How then can they make sure that their politics is responsive to the populace? And being responsive to the populace means addressing an application.
Thank you. We'll take a second round of photographs right behind this backdrop of Vision 2030.
They don't remember many things, but they remember what they saw. Yeah, so that's okay, hold it.
Let them hold one egg.
We can show that Kenya is delicate. Very good symbol. Can it be seen? Or no. Right hand? Okay, we do right hand. We do right hand. Kenya is fragile. Take care of it. Like an egg. You take care of an egg, and you get a hen, and then you get more chicken. You get more eggs. I'm being told to speak on the mic. Kenya is like an egg. If you take care of an egg, you get more, you get a chicken. When you get a chicken, you get more eggs and food to eat. But if you drop the egg, you have nothing for that meal and for the future. So Kenya is like an egg. Let's take care of it. You can pocket your egg.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Thank you very much. And so we would love now to welcome you to plenary and to hear from political parties. We thank you for your support. You have already told us that you're a part of this process, that you own this document. So we would love to get one or two quick interventions before we conclude our event. If I could have assistance with the plenary mics. Any representative of a political party who would like to make an intervention, or indeed any other of our guests?
Can I see a hand? A hand? We'll bring up, there's a, thank you. If you please stand so that we can get a microphone to you. A microphone to the gentleman with the checkered tie. Thank you. Please introduce yourself, where you're from, and make your intervention. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Alpha Paul, Head of Protocol CYMK, that is Chama ya Mapatano, Kenya. Of course, it is a great privilege, all the dignitaries in the room, and of course, everyone is honorable here. It is great to have this intervention today because, you know, our political parties need to know how to go about our manifestos. And of course, for those who have already presented theirs before, it is a point of redemption to see how you can be able to make the people of Kenya, who we all are at service for, that they definitely have and get to experience those things that we definitely talk about. So again, it's a privilege. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Maybe a final intervention. I may need you to stand or wave so I can see you. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Well, I am Justice Juma. I am the party leader, Justice and Freedom Party. And of course, recently a presidential aspirant in the nation of Kenya, and still seeking legal intervention through the court process. But this is one commission that has always attracted my attention, and we were in Naivasha, and here we are again officially launching the document. I would like to sincerely congratulate the team, and on our side as Justice and Freedom Party, I know we sometimes are very good at giving accolades to boardroom and conferences, speeches, but when it comes to action and implementation of the things that we conceptualize, sometimes it becomes so difficult. My ears were disturbing me when my brother said that 80% of the implementation, of the agenda that the civil society, the civil servants are implementing is from Vision 2030. And about just 20%, that is what is reserved for any winner. And currently, Kenya is at a situation which is really worrying. Because when you look at food security, I would ask whether did Vision 2030 envisage that? If we look at our electoral system, I am standing also to testify to you that how the vision on the political envisages what they really are, because it's only the shoe wearer who knows where the shoe pinches. We have ORPP with a vision of making sure that we have a political environment that is issue-driven, free of populism and personalism, for the good of economic growth and functioning institutions. Recently, I'm a victim of an allegation which I'm still addressing, where I was rated first by ESCC, that I registered myself with an ID that is not mine, only to scrutinize and find out that the ID that they're claiming actually is not mine. It's 7-digit, mine is 8-digit. And it was published as an institution like ESCC, as we envisage the freedom of institutions, as we envisage a political environment where citizens have sovereignty. When you see such occurrences, I believe as committees, we need to get worried. And we also need to have mechanism to put to account institutions that can allow themselves to be captured for purposes of taking away citizen sovereignty. So my call is, and we never know whether we'll meet again on a forum like this, let's have mechanism that make these visions realizable. Because yes, we can all sit together and take nice breakfast, but when the push comes to shove, then you realize that you are just speaking and the reality is different. So let's all take responsibility and have frameworks, if possible, also to check the institutions that we are giving these mandates and make sure that they merit them. Because sometimes if they do not, then again we will be rewarding populism, we will be rewarding personalism, and I don't know whether the result of the current candidates are not fitting within the populism or personalism criteria that IBC or ORPP vision has been envisaging to really fight. So
thank you.
As we talk, I think it will be my call that we make sure everybody abide to what we are talking about, and we are rewarding the best doers, not just the best talkers.
Right, thank you very much, sir. It's difficult for me to wind it up without hearing from a woman who is a member of a political party, so I'll take that liberty as the moderator to call any woman who wants to make an here at the front. Thank you. Sorry, ma'am. I hadn't seen your hand. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruth Gichovi from Magana Party. I'm grateful to be here with all the protocols observed. I just want to take this time to appreciate the Vision 30 for the effort and all the stakeholders helping us, the political parties, with a model political manifesto. We are grateful we were able to launch a manifesto yesterday because of our presidential candidate. But with this guidance, we can still get some views and work for the better of this nation. We appreciate the effort made by everyone, and we say congratulations and God bless you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we have come to our end of the program. I'd like to invite the Deputy Director, Social and Political Pillar at VDS, Juliet Murimi, to give a vote of thanks.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
I have confirmed that there is still breakfast. It's still morning. We're in July and we're experiencing winter climate. My name, as Anne has said, is Juliet Murimi. I work at the Kenya Vision 2030. I deputize Madam Ada in the Social and Political Pillar Directorate. And I am pleased to get this opportunity to pass the vote of thanks. So I wish to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending this event, and indeed for all the contributions that you have made and the different roles that you've played during the journey that has found us here today. I would want to thank all the representatives of the political parties present. Kindly wave, you know, I love you so much. Yes, I am happy when I see you. And yes, it's mutual. So I want to thank you very much because of the commitment that you've given to this process since when Vision 2030 started reaching out to you and agreeing that, yes, you can be guided in your game, the game that you play so well, and you have actually confirmed that we can have effective public participation in this country. Thank you very much. On the same note, I want to thank the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties very sincerely for the partnership role and providing a nexus between Vision 2030 and political parties. As a regulator, I think the ORPP has really been very instrumental. Every time we want to conduct participation, they send out the invitation letters. They actually come and they witness and we run the events together. So Sylvia, pass our regards to our office, it's still our office, and tell them that we look forward to continued partnership, but we are extremely grateful for the journey so far. I want to thank the partners, the whole partnership engagement forum, comprising of, not organized in any order, the Kenya Vision 2030, the SDGs forum, CMD, Center for Multi-Party Democracy, and CAJ, for agreeing to come together, and those are the principles, for agreeing to come together and to deliver a policy document for Kenya. And I think you will be recorded in the history books for what you have done. On that same note, I want to thank all the partners again for their financial and technical contribution to this process. We have had several events. We have had run-ups. We had the Crown Plaza meeting, we had the Naivasha meeting, and today's meeting. These have been very capital intensive, and we have received a lot of financial support from the partners. And on this note, I also want to really appreciate the Danish Embassy and the team and the CMD even for today's event. Asante sana, tunashukuru. We have also had some other partners, including UN Women and AMREF, who have given us moral support and technical support in the background. So our gratitude also reaches out to them. I want to pass gratitude to a team called the Technical Working Group, and they may stand so that we could clap for you, because this is a team of what would ordinarily be called KYMs from each of those partner institutions. Where are the others? The Technical Working Group, please clap for them. That is the team that has been working to put this together. Under the guidance and the leadership of the principals of the various institutions, and they have done a very good job. It was not easy. They're in now. Yeah, just wave like this because you missed the point. They were still confirming that everything is moving on well. Yeah, it has been a very good team, and on my own behalf, I want to thank you for being very obedient team players. Asante sana. I also want to give a note of gratitude to the consultants, Mr. Kabara and Mr. Stanley Kamau, and there was also Bosco, who have also offered a lot of technical support and in terms of guiding the technical working group. The technical working group had a lot of foamy ideas, and the foaminess needed to be reduced. And Dennis and Stanley, who's in absentia, and Mr. Bosco have really worked on that document. We know we've had our seasons. Sometimes it was tense, sometimes it was good, but today we are all celebrating. Asante sana. Tunashukuru. Finally, I would want to pass the regards to the Vision 2030 Delivery Board for the continued leadership and championing of Vision 2030 strategies in realizing the global goal of making Kenya have a global privilege. Asante sana, board members, tunashukuru, even for your time and for gracing this event today. We are very grateful. Indeed, I want to pass a regard to our chair, the committee chair, Sir Kevin Desai, for the goodwill, because when we met the PS in December and expressed our willingness to work with political parties, he was not sure that it will be happening, but he said one word: I wish you well. So I think your well wishes have got us here today, and so we thank you very much. I want to appreciate all our other supporters and partners in Kenya Daima. You've worked with us in different journeys, and we have seen you just spreading the gospel that yes, Kenya is one, and we need Kenya to remain one. And if I have not thanked you, please know that it is not intentional, because I love you and I appreciate you. And I want to appreciate, finally, the service providers, the hotel, for giving us good service. I believe you've enjoyed the breakfast and that the room was conducive. It is very friendly. As well as the printer of the manifesto, Pius. When I was just sitting here, I was feeling like I do not know what to do because the printed document had not come. And I was looking at the watch and I was saying, it is 10 now, and the lunch is almost, and once in a while I have to balance here and I have to walk out and still call Pius and ask, Pius, what are you doing? And I want our regards to go to him because we have the document printed, and that is what it takes for a successful project to happen. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to thank you all and wish you well. This is Kenya, we are one. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the close of our event, perhaps with the permission of the Director General, because we are 30 minutes early. That extended breakfast could still be served? All right, this is yes. So please, ladies and gentlemen, do mingle in the room. Please feel very welcome to breakfast and have a very good day. Goodbye from us.
And with our chair, and with our chair. Yeah, with our chair. Chair. Oh, Stanley is here.
Borrow one here. Borrow one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. He was doubtful himself.
Yeah, you need presidential politics. You get consensus amongst political parties.
Mine. Yes, it's mine.